Stop. Okay, so anyway, my name is Dr. Betty Smith, and I am a naturopath, a registered nurse, a certified body talk practitioner. I am the medical director of Akana, a founder of Wakana. I am also a certified wellness coach and an emerald in the business. I'm a grandma and a mother and a wife. And so I was mentioning that last week we talked about some forms of detoxification, and we had a relatively short session last week, and I said that we could continue that on today. Well, lo and behold, last night I had the opportunity to do a Facebook Live with none other than our own Rochelle, and we talked about toxins. And it really brought me to the point that I realized that sometimes that people don't quite understand where all of these toxins are coming from that we're trying to get out of our bodies. And so I thought that it would be a great opportunity to kind of clear that up today, and then we can move forward. So first of all, let me ask, do we have any guests on the line tonight? Is that the Maat?
No.
No? This is
I'm
another.
a guest, actually. I'm a guest of Terry Anderson.
Okay. Is this Dr. Maat?
No.
No. Okay, then there's another Maat. Okay. Well, welcome. So Maat,
Thank you.
is this your first encounter with Akana, or have you seen some of the videos or anything of that nature?
I've received a body scan, and I've
Nice.
been on a overview call before.
You have. Awesome. Okay. Awesome.
Thanks.
Are there any other guests? Hello, Tyrone. And Halima, that is a beautiful name. What does that mean?
My father always told me that it meant beautiful child, so I believed him.
Okay, I know that's right. Claim that one. Okay, so Halima, are you an Akanapreneur?
No, I'm a guest of Tamar.
Oh,
Tamar Briggs.
awesome. Awesome. Okay, so have you had the opportunity to view a video or attend any of our other meetings or see any of our videos?
I've seen the videos. This is my first meeting. My husband and I did a bio scan last week.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, are you in Chicago?
No, I'm in Texas.
Oh, what part?
Southeast Texas.
Okay, that doesn't mean a
Houston.
thing to me.
Houston.
In Houston, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome, guys, welcome. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, we got 3 more people in the waiting room. Wow. Okay, so I have a little video that I want to, if I can find it. So we had a few more people join. Do we have any guests on the line? Hello, Forever Tai Chi. That's a magnificent name.
No, not a guest.
Okay. Hold on, I'm just trying to sign in on my other device because I have a quick video that I want to show you guys. This video. Okay, and we got more, Bernadine and me. Okay, so I wanted to show you this quick video on toxins. Hold on, I need to make myself a co-host. So I haven't quite gotten this together. So there we are. Here we go. Okay. So I am going to just start this video. How do I do that? At least I'm going to try. Here we go.
What are toxins? Well, to say it bluntly, toxins are poisonous substances that can cause harm to your body. Let's start by looking at bacteria and viruses. Some bacteria can release toxins, mainly in two different ways. First, they can actually discharge a toxin, which can attack a cell's membrane or enter the cell and wreak havoc once inside. Secondly, some bacteria have toxins as part of their outer membrane, and the toxin is released when the bacterium is killed. Some viruses release toxins during their replication process once inside cells. Some fungal infections of crops can produce mycotoxins in the food chain. Once these toxins enter the body, they can compromise the immune system, which can lead to many other physical problems. There are also environmental toxins that we are exposed to every day. Chemicals are always being released into the environment. We're exposed to pesticides, herbicides, and water pollution. The way some foods are processed adds toxins to them. Even many household cleaners have toxins in them. The list is endless. Some of our everyday habits expose us to toxins, smoking being at the top of this list. There are many different toxins from cigarette smoke that can attack the body in many different ways. Many antibiotics can have toxic effects. Overconsumption of alcohol and recreational drugs increases our exposure to toxins. And some of the clothes we wear have dyes that can be toxic. Many of the perfumes and fragrances we wear, and even some spray air fresheners, have toxins that can be inhaled or enter the body through pores in the skin. Even emotions can have toxic effects. Not dealing with stress or being angry or always pessimistic can impair the immune system and lead to more serious problems like stroke or heart attack. Toxic waste products such as carbon dioxide are created from some normal metabolic reactions that occur in the body. And that be the basics of toxins. What is glucose? Well, glucose is a molecule, and it's known as a monosaccharide, which is the most basic unit of a carbohydrate. It's the key source of energy for all cells and organs in our bodies.
Okay. Was that interesting or what?
Yes, Dr. Betty.
Yes, it was.
Thank you,
Very
Betty.
interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we really don't generally think of where all of this toxic toxic material and fumes and this, that, and the other are coming from. But that gives us quite a bit of information, right? Some of the things we do on a regular basis. Can somebody think of some things that they do in their household that actually causes toxicity in the body?
Yes, different makeup.
That's right,
Stand a
Doris.
chance of doing that.
I'm
Yes,
glad you
and
said that. Yeah.
yeah, lotions, different
Yep.
lotions, and
Yep. And
we
come on,
just don't
Doris.
know.
Come on with it. Some more, Doris. Come
Deodorant,
on.
Yes,
Yeah.
deodorant,
yeah,
household cleaners.
Exactly.
deodorant, yes.
Detergents.
That's exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Fingernail polish,
Yep.
toothpaste,
Oh, yes. Fingernail polish.
fingernail polish,
Yep. So you,
Toothpaste.
yep, toothpaste, definitely. So
you
now
did say on
somebody
the body. Did you say on the body or just in your home? Period.
in your
I couldn't
home,
get to my
period.
phone.
And
Oh,
on the, let me just say this, on the body is one thing that we don't really, really think about. You know, we buy lotion, we just buy, you know, whatever smells good or, you know, whatever the latest product is or whatever's on sale. And we don't even think about it, that
And
our
speaking of
skin,
smell good, perfume.
exactly, Bernadine. And the skin is the largest organ in the body. And did you know that everything, and I do mean everything that you put on your body goes into your body? Now just let that marinate for a minute,
Including the smells.
including the smells. And that's why, you know, what's going on in our environment is so important. I mean, and probably everybody wasn't here when I mentioned earlier that next week, Michael Mehta, who did our last week's, not last week before last presentation on EMFs and self-care, he is going to come back next week, next Tuesday, and he's going to do part 2. And he was really, really so happy to do that. So, but I'm sure at that time he will talk about, you know, environmental toxins that are going on that we don't have privy to at all. I know this is kind of conspiratorial or controversial, but have you ever looked in the sky and seen those stuff? What do I call them? They look like
Chemtrails. Chemtrails.
yep, that's what they are. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm not the only one,
Mhm.
but they call them, technically they call them contrails, and they purport that that is actually streams from the jets going here and going there. Well, I don't know about you, but I have never seen a jet do this and then do this and do this, and that's what I see in the sky at any given time when I look up and see these chemtrails. And the other thing about the contrails that come out of the jets, those dissipate in a matter of moments. But these chemtrails, they stay in the sky for a long, long, long time. So I know that Mike is going to, I'm sure, discuss some of that because he has actually sent out a message that was shared with me a couple of weeks ago, to wear your mask outside, cover up, wear your mask, because we don't know what is in the environment. We don't know what is being accidentally released into the environment. We don't know what is intentionally being released in the environment, but there's something going on. And so he will speak to that next week. I'm not gonna try to delve off into that. I just wanted to make that known. Now, somebody else mentioned fingernail polish. Yep.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of toxins in regular fingernail polish. There's formaldehyde, there's toluene, there's all kinds of ingredients that are way less than healthful. And again, whatever you put on your body goes in your body. Doris, I was waiting for you to get to the hair dye.
Oh, yes.
And in particular, black hair dye is carcinogenic. It's been found to be carcinogenic. So if you're gonna dye your hair, then please use some color other than black.
And I thought black was the safest one because it didn't have to bleach. Wow.
It's not the safest one. It's the most toxic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, or do like me and let your wisdom show. It's excuse my
Not yet.
Dr. Betty,
not yet.
Dr. Betty,
Yes, Doris.
there's another one too, and just to abbreviate it, it's PPD, but if you look it up, it's paraffylene diamine. That is definitely carcinogenic.
Really?
And that can
now?
come that can come in any color, any brand. You just have to look, and make sure that's not in your brand.
Okay. Can you put that in the chat for us, Doris?
Yes, I will.
Okay, awesome. Because we want folks to be aware.
Also, too, Dr. Betty, you know, for those that have homes and dealing with their lawn, you know, fertilizer. There are certain fertilizer, even if you're gardening, there are certain chemicals that can be toxic, you know, to you as well, if you're not using organic.
Exactly. And I think everybody knows about Roundup.
If they don't, they should.
Exactly. So Roundup is one of the most, if not the most toxic pesticide. It's a pesticide, right? It's a pesticide that is advertised widely. I mean, widely. And I was even at the grandbabies and looked up in the windowsill, and there was a bottle of Roundup that was high, high up on the windowsill so that the kids couldn't get it. But I'm definitely going to talk to my son-in-law about that, because that's a no-no. So,
windowsills, paint, people, painting in their house, as well, even though we don't have lead in it anymore, but just the fumes itself.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are pretty aware. Excuse me, let me pull up my list here. And so I did mention about the environmental pollutants. There are so many that it's hard to name all of them, but again, we inhale them, and these fumes, toxins, what have you, and even some particulate matter go into our respiratory tract. We inhale them, the fumes and what have you, they go into our bloodstream by way of our nasal passages. Some of them not only do they go into the bloodstream, but they may even be able to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is not a good thing, because the blood-brain barrier is what protects your brain from toxins that might be in the bloodstream. And not all toxins can cross the blood-brain barrier. Not all drugs can cross the blood-brain barrier. But again, there are some, and there's so many new chemicals, and I'll even say medications and what have you that are being produced on a day-to-day basis that it's hard to tell many times, what we're exposed to, not to mention the what's the word? Emissions from, not to mention emissions from cars and automotive vehicles, but also from industry. Now, if you're in Chicago or someplace that is highly industrialized like Chicago, and you look up at the sky, especially when the sun is setting, and you can pretty much see layers and layers and layers of pollutants, which turn the sky different colors when the sun is setting, especially. But let's say that and sometimes we can't even see the stars in the sky for the pollution.
Dr. Betty, we also let toxins in through our gums.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's why oral health is so important. Getting the teeth cleaned, brushing the teeth, rinsing the mouth, all of that is very important.
That's so true. However, be careful about what you rinse your mouth with. Several weeks ago, I did a presentation on nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a substance that is produced in the body that actually dilates or opens up the blood vessels so that more blood and oxygen can get through. But come to find out that actually utilizing like Listerine or any of those antiseptics and gargling with them actually destroys the body's ability to produce nitric oxide, which
yes, you use a mouthwash and not an antiseptic.
An antiseptic, exactly. That's why I'm explaining this to you guys so that you can make sure that you know the difference and that you avoid using antiseptics, because that destruction of the body's ability to produce nitric oxide can literally lead to the development of high blood pressure.
What is that?
We're talking about the use of antiseptics as a mouthwash. The antiseptics, it has been found, actually destroys the body's ability to produce nitric oxide, which dilates or opens up the blood vessels so that more blood can get through and thereby more oxygen into the system. So in gargling and what have you, after you brush your teeth, use just a plain mouthwash as opposed to an antiseptic like Listerine or, some of those others.
Dr. Betty.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, I hate to share this because, it has to be very careful, but the hair that is coming into this country,
yes,
it is also toxin. It has been found to have toxin coating. So
yes.
when you sweat, that gets into your system. So, and the glue that they're using on the head to secure the hair, that is toxin. So, but I'll be scared to say something because I don't want to be hung from a tree,
Yeah, but those things are very important. And if we don't spill the beans, then people are walking around and they don't know any better,
Right.
and it could be detrimental to us. And because we do know, I feel that we really have a responsibility to our people, especially to become aware of those things, because many times we are the guinea pigs, if you know
Dr. Betty.
Yes, ma'am.
This is for my own personal experience. A couple of years ago, I decided to do some try braids, right? So I really like
braids, extensions.
Extensions, yeah. And I tried them and I liked them, but the whole time that I had them in my hair, because I was told that they told me what hair to get. It wasn't the real hair; it was just some synthetic hair, right, for the braids. And so I kept them in for about 2 or 3 months or whatever. But my head stayed sore the whole entire time.
Interesting.
And so when I took the braids out, when I started taking the braids out, not only did the braids was coming out, but it was whole locks of hair was coming out along with the braids. It was
Really?
like, and then I was showing my niece who's a beautician. She said, Auntie your hair, you had a allergic reaction, something like that, and some of that hair, what they spray on it or what, like what she just said, it can really damage your hair. I mean, and I went back to color my hair back to blonde, so you can see how much of my hair came out with those doggone braids. And they said that it was whatever they sprayed on the hair is what caused that. And because I mean, my head was sore the whole time. And it wasn't because she braided tight. It was just because it just stayed sore the whole entire 3 months. And my hair, and I mean, I lost, and braids came out. I mean, I was losing whole braids. I mean, just whole braids were just coming out of my hair. So I dyed it back blonde. So you wouldn't tell it as much until it filled back up. So ever since then, I said, I don't want to ever get a braid again. So ever. So
that hair is really
do it.
No, you're dealing with plastic when you're dealing with those braids, the added hair. That hair is absolutely plastic. And I've been in a manufacturing company where I've seen the different process. It goes in the back, little tiny plastic beads. It comes out on the other side, hair.
Really?
So, yes. And I've seen this with my own eyes. I'm not saying from hearsay. I've actually seen it with my own eyes.
Right.
Yeah, so you probably had an allergic reaction to the plastic. You don't know, but it's best to fall back in love with your own roots.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, trying something new. I just stick to what I know. I just stick to what works. So not to say, but I guess if you do a human hair, it wouldn't be the same, I suppose. But yeah, but I'm good. But thank you. I'm good. I'll buy a wig or something. I'm good right now. Yeah. So.
Yep. So
I guess you got to watch them too, though. Make sure that those are. Well, I guess you can wear a stocking cap to protect yourself from that as well. So
the human hair wigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even now, they have, I don't know, these wigs that there's like a stocking cap on there, and they just put it on, and then they put this glue or whatever along here, and then they make the little cutesy curls and what have you, and then they cut it off. I've seen them do it on YouTube. And then they cut that off, and you can't even tell. They brush it back, and it
got a name. That's a what do you call that wig? It looks really well, the parts and everything. And you would think it's called a lace wig. I think it's lace front. Lace front.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, that's some kind of glue that you have to put on your hair there and what have you. And I know I have seen women who have worn wigs, I guess, for some time, and I don't know what kind or any of that kind of thing, but I know that some of them have experienced hair loss at the hairline, as well as some dark, irritation or whatever. I noticed one time on my great niece, after wearing those wigs for a long time. So there are just so many forms and sources of toxins that we just
becomes
take
normal.
for granted. We take for granted. We don't think anything of it because these things are being offered up to us as helpful and healthful, and that kind of thing. And many times we just don't know. So
well, a lot of times, like you just said, people don't have it. Like people want to have long, lustrous hair so they can buy it, or and same way with eyelashes. Putting the glue with those. I had allergic reaction with them too. I was just like hair was. I mean, I had eyelashes everywhere. I couldn't. It just made me itch. It was just itchy. So that's another. It's still glue. It's still glue
and it's
coming
still
on
a chemical. It's a chemical.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep. So, there are environmental pollutants that affect the crops. They affect the seafood. They can affect our water, like the runoff from manufacturing companies. The runoff into the water system, and the water filtration plants many times cannot filter out all of the toxins and the chemicals that are dumped into our water. For instance, you ever say, oh, I don't want the kids to get these pills, so I'm going to just flush them down the toilet. Really? The water filtration plant does not have the capacity to cleanse the water of all of those chemicals. The water that runs off from industrial waste, those many times are considered estrogenic. Oh, I forget the term, but anyway, what happens is that they start to mimic the hormone of estrogen, and it goes into the water, and literally we're drinking that water, we're bathing in it, it's being fed to the animals, just on and on and on. And so we're living in a chemical society, and we're pretty much swimming in a chemical bath, so to speak. So the more that we can do as individuals in our own homes, in our own lives for ourselves, as well as our family, the better off we'll be, because we will at least have some control over what we are taking in or putting on our bodies and what have you. So I don't want to be the dead horse, but then another thing is, the pesticides, the herbicides. Now, have you all ever been in the grocery store and said, I want to see if these grapes are sweet? Because the last time I bought some grapes, they were just as sour. And so you pluck one up, do you wipe it off? Or do you just pluck it and take plop? I've seen people do that in the grocery store, and I'm always like, ah. And I always speak out to those people. I always say, you know that there are pesticides and herbicides on that grape. You see that powdery stuff on there, that sticky stuff? It's a pesticide. So you could at least wipe it off before you plop it in your mouth. And many times I go, oh, I do that all the time. Really? So I just want to let you guys know that that's what that is, if you didn't know, and that you should always wipe anything off before you put it in your mouth. Hopefully you wash it off, but in the grocery store, I regularly have a hanky or tissue or the inside, the underside of my clothes where I wipe it off really well, and then I taste it. So just know that they are there. There's actually a process that is great to utilize for cleaning your fruits and vegetables. We here at Akana actually have a produce wash. And so it's great to utilize that to get some of those toxins off of there, so that you're not ingesting all of those foreign chemicals, because the body does not know what to do with that stuff. Another thing is heavy metals. Heavy metals can come from, actually, we can get some heavy metals, unfortunately, I have to say, from just breathing, because many times there's these minute particles that can be in the air. But the one place that, I'm sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. Minute particles of things like mercury, lead, cadmium, and other pollutants like the pesticides or herbicides and whatever this is, they're spraying in the air. And so as it relates to heavy metals, this is one of the reasons that, we're encouraged to only eat fish maybe twice, 2, maybe 3 times a week. However, this is really about wild caught fish, because the farm raised fish, which is a whole nother story, but the farm raised fish aren't as much the source of heavy metals, because they're not in the ocean or in the wild eating other fish, smaller fish, because the thing about the wild caught fish is that the larger fish eat the smaller fish, and the smaller fish each of the smaller species, and so they have a higher concentration of mercury in them. So that's a source. And then, like I mentioned already, the airborne pollutants, we talked about the water pollution. And then another one that we don't think about as much, but it is starting to come to light more and more, are the microplastics that are being found in water and that can accumulate in not only seafood, but can also accumulate in some of the foods that we eat. And the poor fish, oh my gosh. I mean, I've seen the documentaries where the fishermen are rescuing fish and whales and dolphin and the like porpoises from being entangled, and even, the poor little turtles and just all kind of I won't call them urchins, sea animals or sea mammals or what have you, from, the destruction that we as humans subject them to, being entangled in plastic thrown out there, being caught up in bottles and just all kind of crap that's, floating out there. So next time you think about throwing something out the window or, any place but where it belongs in a receptacle, think again. Think about nature. Think about Mother Nature, because if we protect her, she'll protect us. And think about, and I even speak to other people, hey, there's a trash can over there. Can you drop it out there? Sometimes that can be a little dicey though, because people in this day and age many times are not receptive to constructive criticism. Okay.
Betty,
Yes. What's
this is
that?
Naina. Could you tell me what is the proper way to use our produce wash? The instructions on the bottle are no help. I mean, it's tiny and it's not giving me the directions.
So actually, from my understanding and talking with who did I think I may have spoken with what's his name, Roger, you can literally spray it on there. I spray it on there, leave it for a few, and then I rinse it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
That's
I
what
do
I
it.
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, where was I? Okay, we talked about the plastics. We talked about chemtrails. Oh, here's a biggie. I know you all like for your houses to smell fresh and uplifting and clean and all of that. How many use those plug-in things? Anybody?
I do.
I
Okay,
do.
I do, and
use
also
them.
the candles. The
Okay,
candles
I
as
and
well.
used to,
candles.
not anymore.
Okay, so please, y'all, stop it. That is toxic. Those things are toxic. If you read the ingredients and what have you, those things are generally made of, that oil is generally made of petrochemicals. And
Which thing was that again, Betty, Dr. Betty?
I'm sorry,
Which thing was that again?
the plug-ins.
Plug-in, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
plug-ins. Those things are toxic.
7 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Those things are toxic, y'all. Please stop it. I used to babysit. I used to cat sit from my neighbors upstairs where we used to live. And I would walk in their house and my head would start spinning. And it would just kind of hit me in the face, and I would just be engulfed in it. And I would just walk around the house just unplugging them the whole time. And until they came back and I discussed it with them because they had cats, but those things are so toxic. Be careful what you use, even the sprays, the candles. Try to utilize and the incense that you burn. Many times those incense have been a lead product has been used. So when you burn it, it releases lead into the environment. And then many times the candles are a synthetic wax that when lit gives off those fumes from those toxic materials that they're made with. And the same thing with some essential oils that are less than pure. Be careful with that. Those little, what they call them? You put the oil in and you burn it you use a candle or something under it, but it comes in, with the little different receptacles of different scents and this, that, and the other. That stuff is chemical, y'all. You pay $1 for it or $5 for the little kit. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's synthetic and can definitely cause, it can cause some real damage, and you may never recognize where it came from. Okay, we mentioned toothpaste. The list goes on and on and on. But these toxins are one of the main reasons that we need to make sure that we detox on a regular basis. Many times people say, oh yeah, I don't need that because I eat really good. I eat my vegetables and so I'm good. No, we have toxins in our body since we were children, and we continually expose our bodies to these various toxins by way of all of these things that we mentioned today. And so periodically, 2-3 times a year, we need to detoxify our bodies. And that means utilizing products that can pull these toxins out of our system, can flush our system like Drano, because this is our intestines, our digestive system are one of the places that many of these toxins emanate from, the food that we eat, right? The things that we drink and take in from that perspective. And then the other toxins can lodge themselves in our various organs and tissues. And so when we use, for instance, our flat belly lifestyle cleanse, then we are literally cleaning out our digestive system, because remember, the average person has 8 to 10 undigested meals in their gut at any given time. And in addition to those 8 to 10 undigested meals, we're still pouring it down 2 and 3 times a day, right? In addition to the snacks that we eat. And our colon is somewhere in the neighborhood of 14, our intestines somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 feet long. And I got one question. When was the last time you pooped 14 feet? Never, right? Gotcha. Okay, so that means that we never really get cleaned out, right? So our system consists of our purifier, or we call it the liquid colonic, lovingly, because it really does flush you out like Drano and clears that digestive system of the old putrefied food that is sitting there, which assists in wiping that slate clean, scrubbing the inside of the intestines of that old crud. And then the eliminator, which actually eliminates the mucus and the parasites. And guess what? We all got parasites. If you ever ate meat, you got parasites. And even if you didn't eat meat, you still probably got parasites, because remember those grapes and what have you that I was telling you, people pop in their mouths, or, fail to wash appropriately, they could have, excuse me, they could have worms on them. You have logged in from another device and whatever. I don't know your and so there, like I said, there could be worms or eggs on whatever it is, and you ingest it, because guess what? They're the butterflies and what have you come by and pollinate stuff. The worms grow on the food that is be on produce and what have you. And I never knew that till I started growing some greens one time and kept seeing these holes. And I'm like, where are these holes coming from? Turned the leaf over one day and there was a worm as green as the greens that I was growing. And I was like, oh. In addition to that, sometimes we won't even see them because they are the same color as the food that they're eating on. And so that is the importance of washing your produce appropriately. And our produce wash, for one, definitely does that. There are other methods, but our produce wash is great. Let me get back to those parasites. Okay, so you got parasites, and they are getting the cream de la crop of everything that you put in your mouth, and it goes into your system. And now, as far as the mucus, those little, they're little finger-like projections in the intestines, and these little projections called villi actually absorb the nutrients from the food that you have eaten and disseminate it into the bloodstream and send it off to all the different little cells and tissues and organs to nourish them. But guess what? If that mucus is covering these villi, these little hair-like projections, there's not a whole lot of good stuff, nutrients that are getting in. And so guess what? We essentially become malnourished. And so with that, the body then does not really have the raw materials it needs to regenerate old dead cells. And so we continue to manufacture or regenerate old cells with cells that are not at their most effective or healthy state. 3 minutes. At their healthy state. And so this is where we start to see dysfunctions within the body. And those dysfunctions turn into disease conditions or degenerative conditions. And whoops, here we go down that rabbit hole: high blood pressure, diabetes, and on and on and on. So, okay, so where was I? I was at the eliminator. So because we don't get as much nutrients because of these things, we've got our regenerator, our superfoods that we take along with the cleanse, as well as only eating raw foods to give the body a break. We're not eating meat, we're not eating cooked foods, because all of that takes a lot of energy to break down and assimilate, and then again, disseminate it to the rest of the body. So that's a quick to do on our cleanse, which helps, again, get those toxins out. Once the toxins are out of the digestive system, then the rest of the body says, the digestive system tells the rest of the body, okay, guys, you can release your toxins, because guess what? Now they got someplace to go. They can come in and go out. And that way, all of our systems, all of our other organs are able now to start functioning at a higher capacity, and more effectively. And now with the regeneration of healthy new cells, you got functioning, healthy functioning cells, which make healthy functioning tissues, which make healthy functioning organs and systems. And now the body says, hey, I can do what I was meant to do, heal, regulate, and regenerate myself. And so now your body starts functioning the way it's supposed to. Blood pressure starts to be normalized.
Dr. Betty,
Yes,
we don't have any more time. Can
I
we,
know.
in the future, get also a read on how the EE system would help with that same process?
Yes, I'm working on something now. Thank you, Margaret. Okay, so anyway, and so now the body says, I can do what I was meant to do, heal, regulate, and regenerate myself. And guess what? Your blood pressure returns to a more normalized state, or it starts to improve. So does your blood sugar, the body's ability to maintain balanced blood sugar levels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're out of time, guys. I want to thank you so much for joining today. And next week, remember to invite all your friends so we can find out more about how we're being affected by the electromagnetic frequencies and what the heck we can do about it. Have a great week. See you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Betty.
Thank you,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Betty.
Anybody
Thank you,
that-
Dr. Betty.
Thank you, thank you,
Thanks,
thank you.
Dr. Betty.
Thank you, Dr. Betty.
Thank you. You guys hang on for
Thank you, Dr.
the
Betty.
community check-in with Dr. Roz. Anybody that's
Thank you.
doing or planning to do the cleanse, or if you just want to find out more about it, hang on for the
Thank you,
wild
Dr.
ride.
Betty.